All right, Beyond the Gates fans, episode 140. Oh boy. Okay, so here's the thing. Before the episode aired, I want to say it was early Tuesday morning. I dropped like a 20 plus minute video. Tomas did nothing wrong. I saw those who were like, yo, you tripping. Others who were like, Tomas isn't innocent. He should have known not to go after his ex's or girlfriend's half sister. But the thing about the video, despite the meme thumbnail and the title of the video itself, I made the point to say a couple, if not several times in the actual video, I said, in my opinion, whatever relationship or situationship that Kat and Tomas had ended the moment she talked about his bed game being trash. Because there was like Chelsea said, that's hard to come back from. Now you could argue there was no definitive scene declaring this was the end of it. And like Tomas told Eva, Kat wasn't responding to his texts and calls and whatnot. And you have to keep in mind, this is soap world. So there's an undefined amount of time that passes from episode to episode. Like that could have been over the course of a few days, not simply just 2 days later, that kind of thing. Now, in the video, as I kept saying, I don't think he cheated because I don't think they were even like officially together, or by that point it was like, yeah, we're done. I said Tomas was guilty of being messy because of all the women he could have gotten with. He opted to get jiggy with Kat's half sister, which was messy on so many levels. You know, so I urge you, if you have not watched that entire video, some people are like, I quit watching after 4 minutes. I couldn't take it anymore. Please actually listen, because I go over the dang near the entire history of Kat and Tomas, explaining my thinking as to why I never really saw them as an official couple up until the point after they had sex the first time. It was at that point that I felt like Tomas was staying true to just Kat. But then, you know, secretly she didn't really admit to how she felt about sex with him. And just check out the video. Just check it out. But in this particular video, I'm talking about episode 140. And it low-key kind of debunks everything I said about Tomas being innocent. Now, in my opinion, him having sex with Eva, I still think isn't cheating, because I don't think him and Kat were together. Now, in terms of the aftermath of what he's put away your lighters and matches, because this dude was gaslighting at the scene in Eva's apartment. That much I will say. But later in the episode, when Kat declares she won't let Eva have him, that further solidifies my talking point from the video, and something I've stated numerous times on this channel. The only reason Kat is with Tomas, or at the very least refuses to like cut ties with him or let him go or whatever, and even going so far back as to when she actually gave it up to him, her virginity, I said the only reason she's doing this is because she's fearful that Tomas and Eva are getting too close. So as a result, she decided to have sex in order to help make him stay. And even after not liking sex the couple of times they did it, she continues to masquerade, parade around like they're a couple, but only to the benefit of herself by not allowing Eva to have him. So I'm just saying. All right. But I give this one a 10 out of 10 for numerous reasons, specifically Martin, if no one else. But make sure you like and subscribe. And also, side note, thank you. The channel on September 30th hit 2.5 million views. So, hey, we're doing all right. It's not quite the views of my main channel. And heck, I wish that the Beyond the Gates content would do as well as some of the more popular videos on this channel when I first got started a couple years ago. The Sisters and Zatima stuff. If you go to the homepage of this channel, there's a playlist that says popular videos, and you'll see when I first kicked this channel off with the Tyler Perry stuff, it blew up. So, man, if Beyond the Gates was doing that well, shoot. My credit card, student loan, and mortgage payments would be done in a heartbeat. All right. So, hey, but I appreciate everybody who does tune in, even when you agree with me or you don't agree with me. I do appreciate the views. So, let's get into it. So, Kat, it pretty much picks up where it left off, where Kat's like, you know what, we need to stop being sisters who hate each other and become sisters who share things, which it seems like Tomas walked in on cue because, man, kind of like in Hamilton when Angelica suggested to Eliza that they share Alexander. Nah, Kat ain't doing that. She slams the door and asks for a logical explanation. Kat, I don't really know what the logical explanation is. I feel like you know what the explanation is, but you don't want to admit to it. I mean, I'm surprised Tomas didn't say something slick like, well, actually, I was helping Eva move into her new apartment and, I got some stuff on me and she recommended that I take a shower. Heck, why not? At this point, I feel like Kat would want to hear something like that as opposed to the alternative. Well, why is she in a robe? She was getting comfortable. Okay. So, yeah, Tomas pretty much says, well, yeah, I was helping Eva move, and how about we go somewhere to talk privately? And she's like, you had sex. The both of you are garbage. So she pretty much decides to throw Tomas under the bus further by saying, oh, okay, I see you took a page out of Bill's, playbook. You had the perfect woman and you ditched her for someone else. I gotta refer back to my video about Tomas. Some people say that I was going too hard on Kat. And I don't think so. I mean, I was giving my honest opinion of the character. Her saying that she's the perfect woman. Hey, if you see look, don't underplay yourself, but at the same time, you gotta, and this is coming from someone who's been selling on eBay for 8 years, because it is actually October. Happy October. It is 1:15 a.m. But October 17th will mark 8 years of me being a self-employed individual, YouTube and eBay. So let me tell you, when it comes to selling things on eBay, and it's like, Jeremy, are you really going so far as to compare Kat to an object you sell on eBay? Well, yeah, but listen to me. Let's say, especially with the Pokemon card market being what it is now, let's say I have a Pokemon card that is valued at $75, all right? Just because it is worth $75, no creases, no dings on it, it's in near mint condition. Just because something is worth a certain price doesn't mean you will get that price in exchange for it. Sometimes you got to negotiate. Maybe the card isn't moving and you need some money fast, so instead of 75, you and another person go back and forth till you say 55. There you go. So what I'm saying is, just because Kat sees herself as the perfect woman doesn't mean she is the perfect woman. But let me take it a step further, though. Just because Kat isn't necessarily the perfect woman, just because Kat says that, Tomas, you had the perfect woman, if we're being 100 right now, and Kat fans, Eva fans, Tomas haters, whoever, I want you to hear me loud and clear. Can we at least agree? If Kat is labeled as the perfect woman, that does not mean she is the perfect woman for Tomas. I just dropped the bar right there. You can say what you want to, but I was cooking with that one. I think if you've been an eagle-eyed fan from episode 1 to now, it doesn't matter if you've been watching week to week, or if you're someone who got into the show late in the game and you caught up on Paramount Plus. Over the course of the entirety of the show thus far, over the past 139 episodes, you cannot tell me that Kat and Tomas have gotten to know each other on the same level as Eva and Tomas. I'm not talking about sex whatsoever. I'm talking about getting to know each other on a personal level. Yet again, referring back to my video from earlier, I talked in detail about how over 90% of the time, whenever Kat and Tomas were interacting, whether it be at Uptown, the country club, or at the diner for lunch, breakfast, or dinner date, most of the time, the conversation revolved, well, not even conversation, but the interaction devolved into Tomas being a listening ear to Kat venting about Leslie and her daughter Eva and how wrong they, did the family and how she wants to bring them justice and this, that, and the third. And when you really think about it, the dynamic there, because we talk about Kat and Jacob and how whenever they interacted, it was pretty much Kat breathing down his neck. Basically, despite not working at the police station, Kat was giving Jacob a harder time than his father, Elon, who's like, the chief of police, and Detective Marcel. Seriously, if you look back over the Kat was like breathing down his neck, like, hey, any updates? When's the last time you checked in on this? Come on, Jacob, come on. We got to bust Leslie. Come on, what's going on? Essentially, that's who Kat is. It's like she has to steamroll over everybody. If it's something she wants done, or even in a conversation, she's the one controlling the narrative of where the situation goes. And Tomas nicely told her, listen, we barely even know each other because the fact that me and Eva connect because we have a lot in common. But when me and you talk, it's mostly you going on about your half sister and her mom and everything they've done when you don't even know me like that. So in terms of Kat saying she's the perfect woman and Tomas pulled a bill by ditching her for someone else, I don't know. It doesn't hit right with me. So from there, she points to Eva being the one who plotted this whole thing out. It's like, okay, which box did she want unpacked? I ain't gonna lie, that was pretty smooth. That was a good line. So Eva admits that she wanted Tomas for a while and she loved every second of it. So pretty much kind of digging the knife in deeper in her sister's heart. And that's when Kat says, okay, all right, so pour some malt liquor out for all the homegirls who ain't made it out of Ho-Town. And I gotta admit, the writers could have easily devolved this into some Jerry Springer or Maury crap, but there was a certain level of class and sassiness because the back and forth banter really fit the characters. Where you have Eva, who's from the streets, but you got Kat, who's from, round the way, bougie neighborhood, but she still has some clap back in her. But you could just tell that despite Kat trying her best to get under Eva's skin, Eva really isn't budging. That's her mother's child. So Eva then says that I didn't really want things like this, and tells her she's a top tier bitch. And she pretty much showed Tomas what it's like to be with a real woman, and hey, he didn't disappoint. So from there, she even goes so far as to say the bedroom issues are on Kat. And Kat is just devastated that, her confidence is broken. So she goes in on Tomas about getting revenge by sleeping with Eva. And the thing is, Eva's like, well, look, you're only claiming me as family to look more like the victim in this situation, which honestly, that's kind of what I feel when I looked at this scene. So then Kat calls her a heartless hood rat and a degenerate before she just leaves and slams the door. So as Tomas gets dressed, he's like, we shouldn't have done this. And Eva's like, hey, Kat brought this on herself and she'll survive. So Tomas doesn't want to hurt anyone and never meant to use Eva and all this because we're friends. And that's when she's like, look, we made love and it was intense. So it was a beautiful night and a beautiful escape from everything. But it can't be anything more than that. I'll always be grateful to you, Eva. And it's like, what? So he drops this line. And I'm just, okay. When the world came knocking on the door, I realized what I've done. And she's like, I can't believe after what we just did, you still want to be with my sister. What, we supposed to be bros now? We fit so smooth. And like, come on. We belong together. What's going on? Mariah Carey. And he says he belongs with Kat. So that's when she accuses him of only using her to confirm he's good at sex and wanting someone who could and basically, you needed me to confirm you're good at sex, but all the while you want someone who can take him places and look presentable. And I don't know how to feel about this. Now, let me just put this out there, and I think the majority of you know this. I'm a single straight man, never married, no kids, not in a relationship, no fiance, anything like that. So when I review this content, it's not really coming from a place of bias that just because I'm a man, I'm automatically going to side with Tomas. This is something that I have to deal with on my main channel all the time when I'm reviewing the Tyler Perry stuff, and people are like, man, you always go in on Karen or Fatima or this woman, but you never go in on Zach or whoever else. I'm like, that is not true. If you watch my content or read my social media posts, you know that when I go in on someone, I don't care if it's my least favorite character or my favorite character. If a character does something out of pocket or I feel is wrong, I'm going to speak on it. But then sometimes when, let's say, my least favorite character has a moment of, oh, wow, what they did was actually really cool, or it shows some of their humanity, I'm going to point it out. It might be rare, few, and far in between in terms of the instances of things like that happening, but I will address them as they happen. So that's when Eva's furious that she made the same mistake as her mom, and it wasn't supposed to happen this way. So she kicks Tomas out of the apartment and tells him to never come back, and she literally falls on the floor crying. And I don't know how to feel about this, because on the one hand, yeah, what Tomas did was really messed up. I mean, it's like, what, he's going to Hallmark to get a condolences card. Hey, sorry I banged your sister. You're the one I want to be with. But at the same time, it's like, Eva, you low-key acted like your mom because she recommended that you do this to prove to Tomas that you're the one he should be with. And you were asking all the questions about, like, how good are you in bed? How many partners have you had? And if memory serves, in Monday's episode, she kissed him first. And then that's when he kissed her back, and then they start having sex. Didn't he lead her to the couch? But what I'm trying to say is that you can't present yourself as a distraction and then get mad when the person that you pulled away from their relationship opts to go, you know what, this was fun, but I got to go back to my boo. That's kind of on you. So I will say this much, Tomas, like, bro, just why are you with Kat? I think Eva did clock it right in terms of, oh, I get it. You just want to be with someone who, you can go out in public with and look presentable. I get it. I'm not that person. All right, I see how it is. So then we switch gears to the country club. Ted and Andre are drinking, and I'm like, Andre, remember the last time you got drunk at the club? All right. So that's when he mentions how the Ashley engagement caused him to rebound by flying to Vegas and marrying Danny. So that's when they see Nicole walk in with Carlton, and Andre notices how, oh, dang, that cold shoulder. So Ted explains how, yeah, so your aunt or sister-in-law found out about me and Leslie getting it on recently. So Andre's like, yeah, so I can see why she's not a big fan of either one of us right now. So that's when Carlton and Nicole are at the table talking about Doug's recent demise. And I almost forget that even though Carlton isn't in the show that much, yeah, he works with Ted at the medical office they have. And yeah, he's really familiar with Doug. So she admits that she couldn't help wondering if Ted died, how would she feel about that? And ironically enough, kind of on cue, he actually heads over to the table to compliment how good she looks. And before she can even go in, she's like, you know what? I'm not doing this with you. And that's when he's like, okay, well, let's change subjects. I hope that you aren't too hard on Andre for what him and Danny did. And that's when Nicole is like, I'm annoyed, but that's, knee-jerk reaction. Because at first she's like, well, it's all taken care of. But that's when Andre says that, yeah, actually, Danny and I talked about it, and we're going to see where this goes. So, woo! Nicole's heated. So that's when Ted and Carlton start exchanging words, and Nicole tells Ted that you have no right to question my choices after you slept with that disturbing individual. Now, here's my question. It's not judgment, but a question. just because you get, I know two wrongs don't make a right, but it's like, I guess because they are in the midst of a divorce right now. I know that she told Ted, after finding out about him and Leslie having sex recently, she would use this against him in divorce court. If her and Carlton wind up having sex as the divorce isn't even finalized yet and hasn't even gone to the courts yet, could this be used against her? Because it's like, hey, I mean, you're getting on about me and my mistress, but what about you having sex with my coworker and friend? How about that? Just saying. So, Ted and Andre leave, and that's when Carlton admits that he sympathizes with his boy because he knows there isn't a mountain that Ted wouldn't climb in order to get her back. So we shift gears to the casino, picking up where we left off on Monday, where Vanessa tells Joey how devastating it was to tell the kids about how their father passed, and he's startled that, she's going to take this situation to the police simply due to the fact that something just doesn't feel right. Joey says that, look, let me remind you, none of this is your fault. And you couldn't help Doug because he didn't want help. And what Doug did wasn't about me and you. He just ran out of luck and then took a dangerous gamble that got him killed. But that's when she's like, well, nothing's adding up about this entire thing. I mean, his last phone call sounded like he was apologizing. And I wish I knew what happened between the phone call and the accident. But we know what happened, don't we? So for her own sanity, she needs to know, and even plans to visit the actual crash site. Joey tries to distract her by saying, look, what you ought to focus on for the time being is the funeral arrangements. So my question to you is, how far do you think this is going to go? Because for one, yeah, it's a good thing Joey opted to not let Marcel split town immediately, because having him around is a good move. But the thing is, no matter how good Marcel covered his tracks, when you got people like a Jacob on the case, they're not going to let up until they find something or someone who might be connected or know something that caused foul play. And we know how Vanessa and Joey are, together in business and in bed. But do you think that Joey might actually try to take out Vanessa if it turns out she finds something he didn't want her to find out? Or I don't know, because Marcel said, are you going to stay away from the grieving widow? I don't know. All right, so Madison makes her first appearance since Chelsea got rescued, and she shows off the sales numbers of the purses, and it was more than they expected. Also, Chelsea mentions how terrifying it was that Allison called, but her trauma tension is gone now because she had to remind herself that she's safe. So I'm glad Chelsea is showing progress here. And she looks cute in that pink outfit. That was really cute. Madison mentions how, yeah, you're a survivor. And Chelsea mentions, like, after what happened, I feel like I'm ready to reconquer the world. So she actually records a reel to post to her buyers saying that, hey, I came out of my attack stronger and wiser. And we've got this. So after she finished recording, Kat shows up and starts going on about Eva and Tomas, and Madison senses the tension, is like, yeah, I'll see you later. So Kat talks about how she tried to make peace with Eva, but then it turns out she messed around with Tomas behind her back. And how could Tomas do this? Like, what's wrong with her? And Chelsea mentions, like, well, let's not forget the way you blew up at Tomas about his bed game being weak, and as a result, the two of you were just hanging on by a thread. And I mean, you didn't answer his calls and texts. So it left wiggle room for Eva to just swoop on in. So now the situation is over. So in my personal opinion, Chelsea low-key validated my stance of when Kat told Tomas his bedroom game was weak. That was it. But as Chelsea said, you were hanging on by a string. So I guess Chelsea means that after what happened, you two were pretty much on borrowed time. But then Kat says, who says is over? I love Tomas, and I won't give up on him for making one mistake. And Chelsea's like, love is a powerful thing, but it has to come with limitations. And Chelsea would know, given her recent experiences. We're not ending, we're elevating. And Chelsea's like, I don't believe you, because you can have any other man out there. And she's like, I won't let Eva win. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, and there's no need of me reiterating it here, Kat is solidifying or validating my stance of The only reason she's tethering herself to Tomas is so Eva can't take that away from her as well. So over at the diner, June is being thanked yet again by Naomi for finding her ring, and then that she mentions the Morris Chestnut gorgeous man who came up in here who added a little jiggle to her wiggle. And Jacob comes in just as June is taking notes from Naomi about how to properly flirt. So they both are at a loss for words when June mentions that the man she was talking to was Ted, and they're like, he's straight up trouble, avoid him at all costs. So that's when June leaves and to get back to work, and Jacob tells Naomi about the situation between Doug and Joey and how there might be some sort of foul play involved. And that's when she's like, I think you might need some evidence to, back that up. And it's like, I don't know. I mean, he's a cop. If he has a gut feeling, it might be right. Just saying, Naomi. So then we get to the final scene to talk about, and this is probably one of my favorites. Martin and Smitty are eating dinner, and Smitty mentions how, wow, it's like there's a softer side of you I'm seeing now. You're not as ham-fisted as you used to be. And hey, our lives, including the kids, everybody, it's like it's better around here when you're around. And Martin mentions that, yeah, well, that's something I wanted to discuss with you, because the last time we had sex, you broke my heart by telling me that it was only sex when I thought it was something that made us feel connected yet again, like we were on the right track to healing. And as opposed to being your partner, your husband, the other father to our children, I feel like I'm just an uncle who came to visit because I'm sleeping on the couch and I'm leaving. And the thing is, if I'm living under this roof, I want to live under this roof. So I can't just occupy a corner of, this house or this world. I have to be everywhere. And you know what? I'm not gone forever. I'm leaving, but I'll come back every now and then, so I'll see the kids. So our love was perfect, and I'll be back if we ever find it again. I gotta go, baby. And that's when he leaves and Smitty cries. When I tell you, that was cool. I like that because I'm with Martin on this one. Hey, I'm not going to be a stranger in my own home or treated like someone who has to check in and check out like a hotel. It's like, if I'm here, I'm here. So whenever you're ready to see if we can make things right, I'm gone. I want to come around for the kids, but that's it. I'm not just going to be here whenever you feel the urge to get some tension out and that's it. Nah. So, yeah. Well, folks, I haven't done an episode review this long in quite a while. If you made it to the end, you're a trooper, and you're one of the reasons why this channel continues to thrive. So thanks so much. Let me know your thoughts on this episode. Like and subscribe. And as I mentioned, go check out the Tomas Did Nothing Wrong video because I state my points pretty clearly there.